Welcome inside the huddle in Mom's locker room of legacy, where champions bring out their playbooks to inspire, educate, and empower. Here, we equip mothers, athletes, and families with tools that go beyond the game, helping to build legacies that last a lifetime. Before we begin, please note, this program is for educational and inspirational purposes only. By watching, you acknowledge that you are participating at your own risk. The views expressed belong to our facilitators and guests and do not replace professional, legal, medical, or financial advice. M.O.M.S, its executive director, Dr. Erica Wilson, affiliates, and speakers are released from any liability connected to the content shared. Copyright IH2H. It had to happen, and M.O.M.S, Mothers of Motivated Sons. All rights reserved. No portion of this broadcast may be copied, recorded, distributed, or reproduced without written permission. Stay connected with us. Follow Mothers of Motivated Sons on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Follow our community handle, Enful IH22. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for updates, workshops, and inspiration. Visit us at https://www.mothersofmotivatedsons.org. Contact us at info@mothersofmotivatedsons.org. Together, we're building legacy beyond the game. Now, let's get ready, because the huddle starts here, and champions are made in this locker room of legacy. Let's welcome our Executive Director, Dr. Erica Wilson, and champions.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're here on this Thursday. Oh, Thursday. Good God Almighty. It's Monday. What am I talking about? Am I trying to move the week a little bit too fast here? But welcome inside the huddle, Mom's locker room of legacy. The champions is in the room on tonight to bring out the next play. Our topic is when the mind and body are injured, healing beyond the game. Tonight is going to get a little bit deep here because it's not only the mind that we're speaking about the body as well. So let me go ahead and bring in some heavyweight champions in the building, starting with Mr. First of all, welcome.
Let's go.
All right. Then we have the heavyweight champion, Mrs. First of all. Welcome.
Hello. I'm having some technical difficulties. I can't hear y'all. So I'm going to come off and come back on, but I am here. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. And then we have the other way heavyweight champion, Miss Ashley Cunningham. Welcome.
Hey, look, I gotta get my computer all together. How y'all doing today?
Hey. Listen, me and Ash coming off this road trip yesterday where that sun beat us down.
Man.
Not down, but down.
Down with some Z's in there too.
Yes. And then we had a nerve to go to the beach afterwards.
Lord have mercy.
Woo, I tell you, but look at here. We're some faithful soldiers for the army, and we're standing here before the people tonight to tell them when the mind and the body are injured. Healing beyond the game, y'all. See, an athlete can train their body to push through pain, right? But what happens when the injury goes deeper? When it touches both the body and the mind, because we all know that when these athletes playing the game, they're there giving the best that they know how, right? Beyond the injuries. But although they have these injuries, here it is, they still have to go back out there and play the game. Why? Because they don't want to lose their spot. Although that they're hurting, they're injured, right? So not only am I injured in my body, I'm injured in my mind, because now I'm saying, like, if I really go down, what's going to happen to my family? What's going to happen to my spot? Is anybody going to take my spot if I have to leave? But at the end of the day, we want not just the moms, but the athletes to know too, we have to be there yet for one another when things like this happen, because when the body is injured, the mind is injured as well. And we all know if your mind ain't into that game, guess what happens? injuries, correct? Woo! So let's go ahead and tell a little bit about this topic on tonight. We're just going to jump in real quick about, have you guys ever do you know of anyone, Ashley, by you being a former athlete as well, all of us, you know, we're athletes too because we cheered, okay?
Kind of, sort of. We got
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It
yeah. But,
works.
yeah. So, but you know, remove yourself out of it. So, do you know of an athlete that had to play through pain? They had to just suck it on up and just go ahead and play through that pain. So if any one of you want to start with that, we'll go ahead and open up with that, because I'm telling you that in itself is too much.
I'll start. Tyler, my son, with karate when he injured his hip, and in the process of it, as a matter of fact, he didn't even tell anyone that he had gotten injured, so he just kept fighting through it. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with fighting, sparring in karate. It's a lot of kicking. So it was a lot of hip flexing that he was doing. And he fought at least, I want to say, I don't know if you remember, Wendell, if it was like 3 or 4 matches like that. He took back to back matches. And he was prepared to continue to fight. He wasn't going to tell us. He just kept saying like, "Oh, I don't know what it is," and shaking it off. I don't think we found out for a few weeks after that he decided to say something to us, and then we found out, I can't remember what it was called, but it was something with his hip that he had messed up and he had to do rehab and everything. But he was just determined to do it, and he wasn't going to tell anybody. He didn't want to disappoint himself. He didn't want to disappoint his team. He didn't want to disappoint his sensei. He didn't want to disappoint us as his parents. He wanted to get that win. I don't know if he was necessarily concerned about losing a spot on his team, but I do know that he was concerned about losing his title and being known for what he was, So he just pushed through it, and you could see it in his face, and you can see how it may have affected him. But that was my experience from the
Wow.
outside.
And that's hard as a mom to see, because we know our children, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And here it is, like with the hip, the hip make the body go now. So hey, but and I can relate to that, because with Alan had an injury, and with his injury, it was a groin injury. So that, with that cutting, that takes a toll on the body, and he played the entire season. So I really wish that he would have came on tonight, but he didn't get a chance to come in. But here's the thing, being though that you have this groin injury and you played the entire season, and some days you didn't even know if you were going to be able to go, what was going through your mind? I would love to hear that. So actually, we're going to jump into you, and then we're going to go to Mr. First of all, because you're an athlete. Have you seen any of your other teammates that have an injury and just maybe, I don't want to stop, I have to keep going, I have to keep pushing? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, so I've seen it where it's been injuries. I've seen it where it's been pregnancies, right? Because when you are a female athlete, there's a high chance of you being pregnant. And if you're on scholarship, you got to compete in order to keep that, right? So, there were a few teammates that I've had that we knew as a collective was pregnant. And we just made sure that we surrounded her with love, and we understood. Our coaches didn't know, but the team knew. So anytime something happened, we're gathering around this player, and our coach is like, "What are y'all doing?" And it's just like we were wanting to protect each other in a sense, because we knew that we had to compete in order to get this scholarship. And if you're going to keep your baby, now we're like, okay, now we're looking at, we need to make sure you get this degree. So there's so many different, angles outside of that. Even just mentally, 1 year we had a few deaths just amongst our team, like our teammates had a few deaths. So just being able to have to be surrounded by each other and uplift each other through this hard time. When you have that community, it's a lot easier. But the way that you get mentally, because, when you go to bed, you're going to bed by yourself. That's when all the memories, the playbacks, that's when all of it plays back in your head. So yeah, it's a hard thing, but when you have the community, it gets better over time, of course.
That's another level.
Right. I didn't even think about the pregnancy playing white.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. So that
Yeah.
right there, you see why moms is so important, guys.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have never
No,
Can't
because we always talking in the sense of in men and boys. We never really thinking about the
talk
women.
about the women.
Yeah.
And women really have to go through, like, we really have to mask so much, because when we're competing on a high level, it's like we're expected to do the same thing that the men have. You know what I'm saying? Like we're uphold to those standards. But there's some things that happen to women that just don't happen to men, and we're you know, and we still have to be able
Gotta
to
play through it.
regardless.
so true. Oh my gosh. So, Mr. First of all, you got to come behind that.
Ain't no problem. But with me, it's not one sport that I didn't participate in where somebody had to push through because of like what all you guys been saying. They don't want to lose that spot. They don't want to disappoint anyone. I had my brother, my own brother. He broke his finger during the football game, and at halftime they went and shot him up with that cortisone, wrapped that thing up, and that boy went out there and continued to play. I've had my friend that was on here last time, Mr. Moss. He
Yeah.
broke his jaw, had a concussion. They was playing Georgia Southern. And he got up and kept playing. Now I think the concussion kind of made him not know that the jaw was broke, but he continued to play, man. So yeah, that's it's and then it's some that Ashley mentioned depth. Um one of our teammates, my 12th grade, going into my 12th grade year, one of my teammates actually passed away right on the field doing all season training. So that is something that we don't really look at as an injury, but it is.
Oh
And we
yeah.
had to, and this is doing all season training during the summer, so we had to go into the not only the season but the school year as just a student
Mm,
and fight through that. And he was like one of our star players.
Jesus, Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's going to be another one of our workshop, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
because guess what? I've been seeing so many kids, especially in this heat out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would think that they would have some kind of protocol in place to help this, but I've been seeing so many kids pass away out there on the, and this is just in practice. So
Mm-hmm.
I do believe this is another one of our workshops that we'll speak about as well, because man, I would have never even thought about that either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Well, it's
Yeah.
starting to be more prevalent now than before. And it's crazy. You would have thought it would have been like that back then, because it seemed like they practiced them kids way
Yeah.
worse than they do now. I remember seeing like my friends playing football and everything. They were out there every day, every hour, all kind of weather. Now it's affecting them more, and you know we don't know if it's the food, we don't know if it's and I do believe that because we did eat different growing up than they did now. There wasn't as many processed snacks and stuff. Like we didn't eat good. We had pickled eggs and pickles and hot sausages and stuff.
Feed,
Um,
feed.
yeah, but I don't know if I don't think we had Takis back then. I think a lot of that processed stuff is major when it comes to how they come out on,
Yeah.
and they're not eating right throughout the day. And you know what else? We were talking to the kids about this. They're not eating lunch. They're
What?
not eating school lunch
Mm-mm.
because it's not appetizing. They don't like it. So they're not eating school lunch. They're not wanting to bring their own lunch. So they're not eating. And you're talking about athletes that are doing this. And then to have them go practice. So they're practicing on empty stomachs and all of that. Which yes can lead to those, passing out on the field and all that stuff. But even injuries. So we back to the topic of injuries, it's really taking care of yourself too, to the extent, and I wish Naomi was on here to talk about that part, because it's that eating, that making sure that you're getting all that you need throughout the day. As an adult, think about how we are. I don't eat right either, and I probably don't eat at all throughout the day. Like I might not eat until dinner time, to be honest with you, but I'm woe out and tired. I could feel it. I can tell when I have not had that food that fuels me throughout the day. So imagine a kid that has to go do 2-3 hours of excessive running and in
Yes.
that heat.
Ooh. And then not only that, hydrating,
Yes.
Yeah.
properly hydrating.
Mm-hmm.
Some just think that they just can go, 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 but you have to properly
Yeah.
hydrate yourself.
They
You
think
know,
they superhuman.
yeah, yeah. And here it is. I mean, like, oh my God. But this heat, y'all have to say this heat is on a whole nother level. We
It
didn't have no
is.
heat like this we have back in the days.
That's funny, man. That's funny. We were talking about that at work the other day. Like, hey, this not the same sun from back in the day.
No,
No,
it's not.
I mean, we are getting closer to it. So,
That's the global warming, you know.
yeah.
That's we starting to feel
woo.
all of our bad decisions from before. It's starting to catch up with us.
When I went outside to take limo this morning, I said, "Oh, thank you, Jesus! It was 66 degrees. Yes,
Yes.
Lord, that's the first day of fall."
Oh, we ain't
That was,
feeling that over here. It ain't. It's
oh,
still hot and humid at that.
this yesterday was crucial.
Oh wow.
It was crucial. I done said in that stadium many a time. I have never experienced that heat like it was on
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So too
Mm.
often we only see the cast, the brace, and the limp, right? But not the silent struggles of fear, depression, and isolation. So tonight we're going to step into the truth that real healing requires strength of body and mind and spirit. But what happens when the one component is missing?
Mm.
You know, a lot of times our kids are not taught the godly way, right? They're just taught to just go out there and just perform. But what are you telling your kids about praying before you do anything?
Mhm.
What are you telling your kid about putting God first and things like that, right? So if your spirit is not right, it's going to affect that mind and that
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
can't, it just cannot align.
Mhm.
Everything has to be in alignment. And I
Mhm.
must say, like, I didn't learn Christ until I was in my late 20s or early 30s. You know, I knew him, but
Mhm.
I didn't surrender to him.
Yes.
You
Yes.
understand? So I ran, but I didn't have anyone in my ear saying, okay, well, you know, read your Bible or the biblical principles or things. I didn't have that. So
Mhm.
basically, when it was that time to give my life over to Christ, he said, you know what? No more. And I probably promise you, I had to say, I surrender. I gave that lady the ringer. I get every time she came through my door, I peeped out at the peephole and I did not open that door. But she didn't give up on me. See, that's the thing. She did not give up on me. She kept asking me to go, kept asking me to go. She saw more in me than I see in myself. You see, so I knew that I knew of him, but I didn't have a relationship with him.
Mhm.
And that's the difference. So we could teach our children as young as 2, 3 years old. You know, I have my 1-year-old granddaughter sitting in front of the, you know, everything is computer now, but I don't give her too much screen time. But they have these Jesus things that she sing them. You know, they talk
Mhm.
about the Bible, they have Bible stories and things like that. But again, if we don't have these three components, come on, y'all know it's a wrap. It is, it really is. So the key talking points tonight, we're going to talk about the hidden injury. Now, the hidden injury is understand that emotional pain is just as real as physical pain.
Mhm.
So if I'm behind the scenes hurting, but I'm going out there performing, we ain't even just talking about athletes, we're talking about overall.
Mhm.
So I'm hurting inside, but I'm going out there performing, acting, and God says, I'm not looking for no actors. I need you to be your true self. So, what about those hidden injuries that we're talking about here and understanding the emotional pain, Eb?
You know, um, it's living in your truth, and I think I say that a lot when we're talking, like being honest with yourself. Because I think we believe that if we have a mask on, no one will notice. But the reality is that it seeps through the mask. Like you can't
Mm,
hide the hurt and the emotional pain. You might think you are, but you don't know that. It's like when people say, "Do you see your face? Fix your face." And you're like, "What you talking about? I don't have no face on." But you have a face, right? And I tell people all the time, from the inside, I feel like I have a smile on. And Wendell be like, "Babe, you look so mean. Like you look like you don't want nobody to come speak to you." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm smiling." And he's like, "No, you're not. You have like a little grin. It's not a smile. It look like you hurting. Like you know, right?" So the reality is that we don't know. We think we're smiling. We think that we are laughing. We think that we're speaking, positive and all this good stuff, and it's not. And so if you don't take care of yourself emotionally, then it seeps out onto other people. And when you think you're doing good, when you think you're saying positive, you're actually doing the people you're connected to a huge disservice, because they're getting the nasty of you.
Mhm.
You know, you can't expect to put dirty water in, in a cup, and then when you pour the cup out, you think you're gonna get clean water. It's gonna be dirty water. So if I have this hurt in me, I'm going to let out that hurt, and whether it's intentional or not. And so, when we're in our truth,
Mhm.
when we could be honest with ourselves, then we can work through that. Now there are times when you don't even know you're hurting.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You don't know that that situation affected you. You don't know that this person said that and that bothered you. You don't know that a trigger has occurred, right? And in that case, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it takes someone saying something to you, someone who does see it, someone who does care. And that's not always accepted. It's not always received well, but some things you're not going to receive well. And hopefully in a, one, you could sit with it and process it and maybe change your perspective after, you've processed it. But that's really how that works. Sometimes we know and sometimes we don't, but either way, once we realize it, once we know, we are held accountable for that. It's just like the Bible say, once you know, you are held accountable. You can't say you didn't know. If I tell you about Jesus and you choose to not listen to me, you still held accountable because I told you about him. So now you know, right? And it's the same thing. Once you know you have an emotion, once you know hurt exists, you are held accountable for the pain that you cause to other people.
Yep. 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 That is so true. Excuse me, that is so true. And whether we like it or not, we can't say what hurt other people or what offends other people because we're not in their shoes. And I
Exactly.
know a lot of times we like to minimize people's feelings, but at the end of the day, we can't say our job is if they let us know is okay, I apologize for doing
Hmm.
so. But if they want to stay stuck there, then that's just
That's on
on
them.
that person,
Hmm.
right? Or those people. Because at
Hmm.
the end of the day, you did your due diligence at the end
Yes.
of the day, and we can't keep revisiting the same thing over and over because we'll never be
Hmm.
able to get over the hump. We're gonna
Yeah.
stay stuck right in the in the problem and
Yeah.
not get into the solution.
Yeah.
So I like that what you said, Eb. So a double burden, how body injuries can trigger mental struggles, fear of injury, identity loss, and isolation. Come on,
Mhm.
coach.
So I've seen in the past how injuries have affected performance, and then like we was talking about, it goes hand in hand. It does affect the mind.
Yeah.
What do I do now? What would they say now because I'm not uh performing well because of my injury, pushing through that injury so that I can maintain my spot. But deep down inside, you're not able to perform the way that you want to. So mentally, it breaks you down, stresses you out, and then you'll end up going off the tracks doing something that you ain't got no business doing, getting yourself in trouble off the field, off
Yes.
the court. So those type of injuries, because they at the end of the day, you know what your injury is, you know what the effects are of that injury, you know how much time you have left in that injury. So you have to be mindful and be careful of what you do with that.
But not
Yeah.
just even injury of the body, right?
Right.
Injury of the mind.
Yes.
Sometimes we could say some things and it can really cut deep, you
Yeah.
know, and not that injury is there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
from
like
a
to say,
from a
go ahead.
coaching standpoint, we have men those who say something and we don't even realize how it affected that kid.
Yeah.
Like what Ebony spoke about before, those triggers. Subconsciously, we're going through a lot of stuff that we don't really even know. And then somebody say something and that trigger hit, and we sitting around like, oh, it's gonna make me feel this type of way.
Yeah.
So as
Yeah.
coaches, you got to be mindful of what you
But
what you
there,
saying.
yeah. And I think
What
that's
son, you
important as
playing
people.
so? Yeah.
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 Before
As
we
people,
go,
we got to be mindful.
before we go, we got some special guests in the house, and I'm telling
Uh-oh.
y'all, this is about to get good.
Uh-oh, that's my boy.
That's your boy right there. That's our boy. Welcome, 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 Mr. Ryan.
What's up, y'all? Hey, I hope my reception isn't that bad.
Not at all. Not
Nah,
at
we
all.
ain't.
Don't worry, I'm about to. I'm literally about to pull over in like 2 minutes, so don't be like, oh, he
Yeah, we
Okay.
driving.
want you to be
You know what I'm
safe.
saying?
Yeah, we definitely want you to be safe. So go ahead,
No, I was saying
Just one second.
that was a good point. I did this event the other night, and one of the speakers there, or that was with the rest of the mental health professionals, was a guy by the name of Jay Bryant. And he was he's an ex NFL player, but he's also a licensed therapist as well. And he was talking about the hurt, and we think about injuries, like you say, physical injuries. We think about the things people say to us, right? All of that stuff. But we don't really ever talk about the traumas, right? Like what we grew up, what we experienced. And he was talking about how like his dad and his mom had gotten divorced. And I hate to tell a story, but his dad and his mom got divorced or whatever, and his dad wasn't really in his life the way that he felt like his dad needed to be in his life. And it affected him in how he played sports. And he was able to be successful, but his reason for doing what he did wasn't because he was great and he wanted to be great. And one of the coaches asked him one day, when you're running the ball, because he was a running back, he said, when you're running the ball, what do you think about? He said, I'm running over my daddy.
mm, mm. Yeah. Yeah.
So imagine the hurt and the pain and the trauma. This stuff is not, they don't leave it off the field. They don't say, okay, I'm gonna leave it over here on the bench until I go do my play and then I'll pick it back up. They take this stuff with them and it affects them. And his story ended great, but he had some trials. He tried to attempt suicide twice. He had overdose. A lot of things affected him, and this is an NFL player, someone who was doing well for himself. But we only see that part, not realizing how our traumas, how our hurt, our experiences can affect us. And we end up even messing up something that is good for us. So when you talk about it being beyond the physical injury, everybody's story, I'm sure there's a lot of athletes that will say things like, oh, it was just me and my mom, or my dad left when I was young, or my dad was abusive, or like they have these stories. And to imagine what they're carrying along with them, and if that's actually being healed or worked on or talked about, or like, are they dealing with it, or are they taking those mental issues, those problems, and causing physical injury to themselves in the process?
That is so true. And whoa, see, I mean, we're hitting on a lot of different things here tonight. Just to hear the young man say what he said. And we know that a lot of these athletes are coming from a single parent home, right? And to hear him say that, and now he's in the field to be able to help others, feel what go through some of the things that, or talk to them about some of the things that he experienced. I was talking to a young lady today. When we hear about other people's stories, we tend to open up because one, it could be shame, thinking like, oh, I'm the only one that's going through that. No, that's not the case. And I always say, like, they happen to us, but they happen for us. So when we begin to share them, this is what we can do. So
Yeah.
Ashley, by you being on a team of women, and you talked about the pregnancy, right? What are some of the warning signs, like you could recognize depression, anxiety, or even burnout in an athlete, especially being pregnant? You trying to play ball and carry a baby? Huh. What are some of the warning signs you saw?
A lot of the signs of disassociation, right? Like the person that used to be there, they used to be happy go lucky, and I'm sorry, my kids are going crazy. And they were happy at once, and I can only speak from my experience. There have been times where I know I'm just not right mentally. I'm just not right. And like you said, you think you're smiling, but you really got just the rest in B face, right? And it takes someone saying, what's wrong with you for you to be like, I'm okay. Like, what do you mean? I'm okay, right? But when you really try, when you start to just move yourself away from what you used to doing, what people know you're used to doing, sometimes overcompensating happiness, because it's like I have to be overly happy so that what I'm feeling is not really being projected, if that makes sense. And the only reason why I say that is that's something that I dealt with personally. So, like my junior year in college, I suffered a injury where it left me out for the season. Same year, not too many months later, my father passed away. So now I'm dealing with grief and I'm dealing with an injury. On top of that, I'm working 2 jobs and I'm going to school full time. I'm taking 7 classes. And I started to develop a drinking habit. I didn't really know that. I'm just, while I'm at work, you got a friend that's a bartender. They gonna give you some drinks and you going to take the drinks. And I didn't realize until my spouse was like, there's really some, like, what's going on with you? You're starting to do things that you wouldn't necessarily do. And it takes a while for you just to sit back and really think, because like you said, once it's brought to you, now you have to be able to take accountability. Sometimes it's not like that. It's just little things that start to make you think like, am I tripping? Am I really doing what this person is saying I'm doing, to help you come out of that? So, really, when I would say when people start to just disassociate themselves, when they try to overcompensate their happiness just to mask how they're really feeling, those are signs to be able to look out for.
Yeah.
And just drifting off into space. I mean, I got ADHD, but I was drifting off. Like, there'd be one moment I'd be like, and someone could be talking to me, and I'm thinking I'm here, but I'm not here mentally.
Mm-hmm.
My body is here, but I'm not here mentally.
Yeah.
That is deep right there.
Yes.
She's saying my body is there, but I'm not there mentally.
Mm-hmm.
How many times do that happen? Overall, not just in the world of sports. I'm talking about overall. Because we all know too, you spoke about grief. Grief is something that we can't tell anybody when to get over. And you spoke about, as your father. My father been gone over 40 some years, and it seems like yesterday. You see, and that's the thing with people. Oh, you should be over it by now. You can never tell anybody when to be over something like that first love, outside of God, and that was making hard too. Like sometimes, like you say, I could be right there and I hear you. So think about us mothers. Wendell, we're gonna go here. Think about us mothers. When our kids, like, we know, I don't know about you ladies, but I could tune my kids out, or I could tune some kids out. You learn that over time. You learn that. So just like my granddaughter was just in here, I just put it on mute. I know she over here making all this noise, but I can tune it out. You see what I'm saying? So what happens when you have this pain and you tuning it out? You don't want to address it. You want it to make it seem like it's everything else, but you know what the pain is. Now, see, we know what the problem is, but you don't want to get to the solution part of it. We
I
just
think
go ahead. We just want to look over it.
I was gonna say, I think as women, like we naturally carry so much to the point where we think we got it,
Yeah.
and we don't. I'm not gonna say weak. I don't want to look weak as far as like I can't handle everything that's being thrown at me, especially just within the African American community. We're already like, we have to take punches from left, right, up and down, and gut punches at the same time, and expected to keep our head up and smile every single time.
Yeah.
So sometimes it is hard to look for that help, because now they're like, well, I did it, so you should be able to do it. Well, this is what you walked yourself into. So that opens up for a whole nother conversation, instead of just saying, hey, let me help you out, because I know what it felt like when I was in this situation. Let's get through this together. Let's build that community so that we can be right, and we just don't have to take every single blow. We can be able to give those blows in other directions.
Yeah.
But what if it's not a blow? What if it's just someone that truly cares about you and want to see the good, the best in you, or come out of you. Because everything is, we take, especially, but this is when we walk around hurt though. When we're walking around injured, there we go. When we walk around injured, we're going to think everything is a negative, or we're going to tend to look for things, and when something similar happened to something that happened to in our past, we're going to fly off the handle. But then you have to have a community of people to say, okay, come on, get yourself back right. Okay, Queen, let me straighten your crown. Let me go ahead and straighten your crown. And it's okay for your crown to be straightened. It's okay for your helmet to be straightened. It's okay for your jersey to get, put back in the right place. It's okay. We have to learn how to put on our big girl panties, like we say, and put our big girl panties on and keep it moving, because everybody is not out to get us. However, some heal quicker than others. Some really have been injured as a child, and they're an adult now, and that child is still injured. But like you say, my body is here, but my mind is not. And think about men, and this is not to put the men down. Men tend to, we tend to, how they say, a 13-year-old, well, a 20-year-old is actually what, a 15-year-old in a man?
It's 3 years, yeah.
3 years, yeah, somewhere up in there. But here's the thing. Sometimes as women, and I'm getting on us women now, we have our men athletes, they go out, they work all day, they getting banged up, they doing workout, whatever it is that they doing to provide for their home, right? And here it is, now I have to come home to someone nagging me. You understand? I'm already beat up, banged up, and injured up, and I got to come home to you nagging me, and no cooked food I don't have no cooked food, and then if I am hurt, how are you really talking to me? What are you saying to me? Because when you get injured, the fans, I'm talking about when you're not performing or you get injured, the fans is really on your butt. Now I got to come home and I got to hear this too.
Yeah.
Some of us are really reckless with our mouths. Truth be told, be honest. Some of us are really reckless, and then we have these men coming home and they're already hurt and disgusted, but now they got to deal with our reckless mouths. What do you do? I'm being honest. We're gonna keep it real here on tonight.
Well, you know what? Women need to get help. We don't get help. We don't talk about, like Ashley said, you try to just put this facade on that you got it. And the reality is that it's a lot for you. And so because it's a lot for you, you get upset when your man makes it look easy, because he don't look like he got nothing bothering him, right? But and he may have something bothering him, but he don't look like it, right? So because you walking around here like you're not the one cooking, you're not the one cleaning, you're not the one taking care of the kids, you get to go away, you get to go to work, you get to stay with your friends, you get to go to practice, right? I'm here with the kids crying and climbing all over my head and all of that stuff, right? So I think that at the end of the day, it is, you don't have, or you don't use your outlet. You're not talking to someone to say, this is a lot. Like, I need help. I can't do this by myself, right? Or better yet, you're not communicating with your partner to say, hey, listen, I know you work hard. I know what you do, but man, this that I'm doing, this is hard too, and I need help. And then when you do that, nagging shifts. I don't have to nag anymore because I've communicated. And if I communicated well, guess what happens? That person who you're communicating to does something to try to resolve. So they're going to do whatever they can do to make it a little easier. They may not be able to take it all off of you, but they can make it a little easier. And it's the same thing. If men communicated the stresses of their life, you would hope, not always, but you would hope that their women would also consider those things. We got to learn how to communicate, when stuff is difficult, because it creates its own problems. And then you do have the nagging, you do have the, the misunderstandings and the disagreements. So communication becomes very, very important when it comes, especially when you're talking about athletes, because that is their day-to-day job. They're getting beat up, banged up, they getting cussed out, they're getting stuff from fans, and emotionally it's just a lot. And so, but you're not gonna find no athlete go home and tell his wife all of those things is a problem. So definitely it's something that we have to work on, especially in our community, because that's where it's the struggle the most. Women are talkers, men aren't, and men have not been taught to talk like women have.
I think also just that safe space, just being able to create a safe space, right? Because,
Yeah.
like you said, especially for young boys at a young age, they're taught like, "What are you crying for? Stop crying." You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And at that point, you're crying because you don't have the words to be able to express how it is that you feel. So until you're able to really just express how you feel, the only thing you can do is cry. But now you're telling me I can't cry, so all I'm doing now is holding it in until it explodes. And
Yeah.
once it explodes, it may not go in the way that you want it to be able to go.
Absolutely. And another thing too is we think that people could think for us. Well, you should know how I feel. You should know what I feel.
I,
Isn't that
I think
something?
that's something that is still like happen regardless, no matter, especially if you've been with someone for so long. You know what I'm saying? Those are conversations that are still probably happening because just like you
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah, and
know.
it's so fun. I am so grateful that I work in this profession, because I was that person, and it's not until I started working that I realized people cannot read your mind. That is the wrong thing to do, to expect it. But girl, don't we be sitting up here going, how you don't realize this? How do you not know? You know what I mean? I don't know. Wendell, why don't you tell us, how does that feel when someone does that?
Boy, I tell you, did you see her wink at me?
No, I'm being serious. No, I'm not talking about me. I'm saying it's not just
Okay.
in marriage. I think we do that, period. Like at work, we do that. Like, you should have known that was gonna hurt my feelings, or you should have known that was gonna make me mad, or you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you respond to that?
Well, for me personally, I've learned the Jedi mind trick where it doesn't affect me as it would other people, because I have understanding, like, okay, you special. So I'm still I hear you talking, but I ain't really listening. So I just block that out, man. It don't bother me like it would most people.
Yeah. All jokes to the side, though, um, we do that because we are used to not being heard.
Hmm.
It's
Mm.
almost a trauma response.
Mm.
So you're trying to just hope people can catch it. Like, can't you just tell, because we've been playing this guessing game all this time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's just something. It's a learned behavior that kind of happens. And like Ashley said, we're just not really taught to, like, hey, like, tell how you feel. Say what's bothering you. Instead, it's like, let's play charades
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
see if you get it.
Yep. Yep.
And if
Yep.
you don't get it, then I'm going to be mad at you, because how do you not know me? How do you not understand? I'm your sister, I'm your daughter, I'm your son, I'm your mom, I'm your wife, I'm your husband. Like, how did you not get that?
Yeah.
But it goes back to that communication, and that is the most uncomfortable space. People, I don't care how many people say they communicate well, they still miss it because they're not really communicating everything.
Right.
And you should communicate everything. An explanation
Hmm.
is necessary,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't change anything.
Yep. It goes back too though, not just with the guys being told like suck it up, you're a man. It goes back to the families too. What happens in this house stays in this house.
Hmm.
You know, how
Mm.
can we get help if what happened in this house stays in this house?
Yeah.
You don't have to plaster it everywhere, but it goes back to that. And that's something that would, especially back in the days, you better not tell what goes on in this house.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
it even, man, I'm telling you, this thing could go, it could get very, very deep. So what happens when your body, now listen, when your body says stop, but your mind can't let go?
Well, I know for me, what I tell people, so with athletes, it's I'm not gonna say it's easy, but there are just find alternatives. So if you still have that competitive spirit, that competitive heart, you're a football player, go try and do something else. Just go. I have one of my good friends, Stephon Logan. He just retired out of the NFL maybe about 3 4 years ago. Now he's a professional cyclist, and he's going into personal training. You got guys who finish playing basketball, they go to, oh, I'm gonna go try this yoga stuff. I heard people talk about this yoga stuff. So just finding an alternative, you still have that competitive spirit, but you want to find something that's lesser of what you did. So to take that stress off you. So now you're training differently. You're not really pushing yourself as hard as you would when you did whatever sport that you did.
Hmm, that's good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
That
like
is,
that.
I do
Yeah.
too. And you
Mhm.
know, yoga is not a bad thing.
It's
Yoga,
wonderful.
No, it's
And
actually
listen,
very good.
in college when I ran track, we had every athlete had to take a class. We had to take yoga. I'm gonna tell you, at first it was very painful, but then after a while, you do see your performance better. Your health gets a lot better because you're stretching out and you're
Mm-hmm.
releasing certain. I'm not all into science and biology and anatomy and all that stuff, but you release certain chemicals in your body that allows you to heal better and
Yeah.
perform better.
Yeah. And it's really good for your mental health.
Yeah.
That's actually something that we recommend to people who are dealing with anxiety and stress, because yoga allows you to do all these different stretches that release some of the angst and the stress in your body.
Mhm.
So when you're stretching and everything, that actually helps. And it is really good to do when you're praying and meditating on the word, you can do that type of stuff. So yoga is really helpful.
Yeah.
But that's a good point that you said, Wendell, about how if if your body is telling you to stop, but your mind is saying to keep going, let your mind take you to something more productive or something more that still has productivity, but may not
Mhm.
be that actual sport. So just kind of using the brain a different way than
Mhm.
what you're used to. Um, it's like a kid who can't sit still. You can't tell them to sit down and
yeah.
expect for them to stop moving, right? Give them another way to use that energy
Mhm.
than what they're currently doing. So I agree. I think that's a good point.
I remember my first time ever doing yoga was my senior year in college, and our coach was like, "There's just too much going on." No, she's very animated. It's too much going on. So there was this part in yoga where you're supposed to just like lay flat and not have anything come to mind. First off, the
Hmm.
best part, right? Because most times we distract ourselves with our phones, music,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be, so we don't actually hear the voice that be in our head. So when we don't have anything but just silence, everything just starts to flood. And I
Mhm.
remember waking up, not waking up, but like leaning up, and all of our teammates were crying. And they were
Yes.
like, "What is going on? Like, why are we crying?
That
What
mean
did
it
you
did what it was supposed to do.
Right.
like?" And we didn't realize, like, again, because we got school, we got basketball, we got boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever the case may be, that's distracting us on a daily basis. That when we're actually able to sit within ourselves and feel everything and absorb everything, now it's just like, oh, I am actually dealing with a lot more than what I thought I was.
Oh wow. Well, yoga is not a bad thing. You heard here on tonight. I know at the University of Miami, they not only did yoga, they did ballerina. The guys did ballerina for the
Yeah.
floor art.
Yeah.
They did. They really
You'd be
did.
surprised how many professional athletes do it. Some of the biggest, toughest guys. I'm talking about
Mhm.
defensive linemen, 300 something pounds coming at you
Yeah.
out there.
I would have never thought that. Like, I didn't
Oh,
know that
Yeah.
was
And they
even make.
openly say, hey, listen, my performance have gotten better because
yeah.
I thought there was something because it's more of a finesse thing. You learn about balance. So
Yeah.
in basketball is a more of a finesse sport. So and when you see those guys play, if you watch it in slow motion, ain't nothing but ballet.
Hmm.
So you take that and push it to the football field. So now you're looking at a guy trying to defend you for coming to the quarterback. doing a move you ain't never seen before. How do I stop that? So it adds something else to the game.
That's true. That is true. Even to the point where you guys know what ping pong is.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
You
I'm
know,
good at it too.
oh, I am. I got a table at my house. We could
Oh man, we gotta play next time we up there.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, Alan bought it, and I just took it on with me. But the thing is, they taught in when he was with the
And
Jaguars, it's for eye coordination.
hand-eye
You
coordination. Yeah.
see, and I'm Hannah. There you go, Hannah. Oh, thank you, Coach. But see, it's plenty things that they can do.
Yes.
To kind of like woosah, or to help them enhance the level of play. Because at the end of the day, no matter what position you're playing, you're using your feet. You're using your hands,
Mhm.
so there's some great things to get, and you're using your body. You're
Yeah.
using your body.
Yeah.
But I'm scared of yoga, but I think I do want to try it. I keep hearing everyone talk about this hot
Oh,
yoga.
you gotta don't do that.
Yeah, hot yoga serious now.
Don't do
It's
hot
hard to
yoga.
breathe.
If you talking about the heat when you step outside, then you're gonna be talking really bad about. You're gonna be praying every day, asking God to make sure you don't go to hell. That's what you're gonna be
Right.
doing.
Make sure I be get myself right on
You be
this
like,
side.
Lord, Lord, every day I
Yeah.
repent, God, every day,
Yeah.
every day.
Is it that bad?
It's bad.
It's
It's
hard to
bad.
breathe. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's
Oh yeah.
bad. It's
Never
bad.
mind then.
Now people do it and they love it. They love hot yoga. But I'm gonna tell you, I know I couldn't take it because I don't even like getting in a sauna.
Well, I do. I love the sauna and the steam room.
Okay.
I gotta find out. It's a place in Georgia. I can't remember the name of it. When I was driving trucks over the road, I stopped by one of my friend's house. And he was like, "Hey man, I heard you were talking about doing like yoga and all that stuff and all that." So he took to some little place that looked like little Chinese people around and everything, but it's a little building and they have different rooms.
Hey, I ain't going into no happy place now.
No, 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 it was, no, no. It was one of those type of places. No.
Not
No, it
today,
wasn't.
Satan. Not
It,
today.
it wasn't one of those type of places.
Y'all got me crying.
But you go in, they give you they do give you like a gown, it's an orange gown, and they have these different rooms. They have one room with just extreme hot. They may have a mat, you just sit in there and meditate. Then they have a pool on one end, and they have the hot lava rocks and stuff, all that. But it was a nice experience.
Yeah, I see. I love the sauna. I love the steam room. They
Yeah,
even have one at the Hard Rock where they have like a salt room. You go in
yeah,
there, it's really hot, and it's supposed to be really good for you.
yeah.
But we have Mr. Ryan in here. Let's get Mr. Ryan in on this question right here. So, Ryan, as a mentor, how can mentors encourage recovery without pressure to rush back into the game or on the field? Can you hear us, Coach? Can you hear us? Oh, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, did you hear the question?
Yeah, I heard the question. Repeat it for me one more time so I can.
Okay, as a mentor, how can you encourage recovery without pressure to rush back into the game or on the field?
Transparency. So that's the number one thing too, being transparent because we've all went through injuries as student athletes. Sometimes either us individually or somebody that we know, somebody we love, we cared about, or whatever the case might be, and you can give them your timeline of what you went through, and then the other thing is ask them what the injury is. Like, hey, saying what is it? Is it a shoulder? Is it a finger? Is it a hip? Is it an ankle? So on and so forth. But once you actually find out what the actual injury is, then you can sit there and say, listen, hey man, it's week 1. You got a high ankle sprain. Why don't you wait until you all the way 100 because you play XY position, and if you come back too soon, all you're gonna do is re-aggravate it. It ain't gonna be no good. You know what I'm saying? But we've all been there to where we played through injuries.
Yeah.
We've proven that we're tough and whatever the case, whatever the case might be for the love of the game and for our opportunity. But the biggest the biggest thing that we have as far as mentors and coaches, man, we got experience. You know what I'm saying? Over what the young people have right now, we got experience. So you can sit there and say, "Oh man, I'm ready to go." I'm like, okay, I know you're ready to go, but you got a messed up labrum. You got a bruised elbow. You got whatever, in your position, you need to have that at least be 70, 80, 90% in order to be an adequate student athlete and perform the way you need to perform. And so you pretty much helped him understand that, yes, getting back on the playing surface is important, but do you want to play week by week or do you want to play for the duration of the season? You know what I'm saying? That's where you want to put things in perspective for them. And then if they do confide in you as far as, I think I'm ready to go, you know what I'm saying? I just got done doing this in rehab. I just got done doing that in rehab. I met with my position coach. They said this, and this, whatever the case might be. You just ask them again, like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Hey, what week is it? Oh, it's the middle of the season. Okay, how much longer y'all got? Okay, then you give them a timeline of risk over reward. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to go back out there and risk re-aggravating it, re-injuring it, or do you want to slowly get back on the field and perform at your peak? Now we'll put an asterisk in there and say this: when it's a senior year, that's the hardest. You know what I'm saying? Like there's serious. I don't know if y'all touch on that, but like, you know what I'm saying? I know guys that when it's their senior year in high school or their senior year in college, it's like, man, you know what? I know I'm not playing ball anymore after this. Let me get my last 4 or 5 games in. That. And those kind of conversations are like the hardest because the risk over reward is pretty much equal. Neither one was above the other one because the student athlete understands that once I graduate high school, I'm not playing in college. Once I graduate from college, I'm not playing in the pros. So let me have my glory days, whatever the case might be. And then you just gotta have a realistic conversation with them in regard to what the injury is, what it could turn out to be once they get done playing, and so on and so forth. But you just gotta talk to them and put it all on the table. And again, transparency is the number one thing that has to be on the table.
That's it. That is it. So if you have a kid that actually came to you and kind of confided in, like, oh, yeah, man, I'm hurting, but he's speaking to you as a mentor, and he's telling you, like, I'm hurting, but they're expecting me to get back out there because we all know that that's what's expected of the players to play through injuries. It's not just they want to; it's that's what's expected them to do, right? So if you had this kid come to you and say how he's hurting, and some scared, playing fear because they don't want to get injured. They're playing timid because what if somebody come out to that ankle, or what if somebody come out that knee that hurts? How do you speak to them or encourage them to speak up to their coach at that point?
Man, wow. That's a great question. The main thing about it is like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's because it's always a reaction kind of situation. Asking that question right now, I can give you 100,000 different answers that are politically correct, but I don't know. I don't even know what I would tell a young person in that position because if you a real old head, you know about the movie The Program. If you're real old head, you know about the movie Friday Night Lights, where you had 2 guys that were in their peak. You know what I'm saying? One at the high school level, Friday Night Lights, and one at the collegiate level, as far as The Program. And they got a season-ending, almost career-ending injury. And, the coach was like, okay, I know he done, but let me keep him uplifted, so on and so forth. And then the player, like, man, I can bounce back. I can still do A, B, and C with a messed up knee, messed up, whatever the case might be. And so, really, as a mentor, you personally, you got to go through the parent because on my conscience, I can't sit there and say, hey, what I'm saying, so and so, I think you should go back out there and try it one more time, without talking to your parents. Because if you go back and tell your mom and your dad and say, hey man, Coach Montgomery said I should try one more time, you go out there and not only do you re-injure whatever you messed up, you get another injury. Man, I can't sleep at night with that. So it's a situation of sitting the parents down, sitting the student athlete down and saying, hey, A, B, C, ... And then get the coaches involved, get the doctors involved, get the trainers involved, get everybody involved as much as you can, and they go from there. Because at the end of the day, yes, the student athlete and his family are going to make the final decision. Flat out. Situation. But if you get everybody to the table and there's a decent relationship, there's a good relationship. I can say decent. There's a good relationship amongst everybody. You should be okay. Because I was in that position. So I had a high ankle sprain when I was in high school. It was my senior year. I don't even remember what week it is. It ain't even important. And it was a situation of like, hey, do you want to play, or do you want to, you want to go? And that was like the first time I ever heard pain tolerant being used. I ain't never heard. You just fight through it. But it was more so about like, hey, you gonna have to be pain tolerant. You're not gonna heal for real into the season. That. And it was like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, dude, I'm a senior, bro. You crazy? Full throttle, lace me up. And luckily, I didn't re-injure it. I didn't do anything worse to it. I didn't even become dependent on the tape and anything like that. That became, I guess, part of my everyday regimen. But it was a tough conversation, though. It was. I had to tell my coach, hey, I can't feel this. I can't do this. And so, I mean, from experience, you got to get everybody involved. And if they don't want to be involved, then that's another hurdle right there, because then you talk about liabilities and like people don't really care about you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I heard a high ankle sprain is worse than an actual break. Because when Allen broke his foot,
you were thinking broke.
Listen, I'm just saying from personal experience. Like seriously, you would rather break your ankle than have a high ankle sprain, because
that's what he said.
It took, like, luckily I didn't do any winter sports my senior year. I just played football, ran track, and played baseball. So it took from the end of the season, our last game, all the way until maybe about February for me to actually be able to, you know what I'm saying, not have to have the old school ace ankle wrap thing on there, you know what I'm saying, not to have to walk around in a boot when I was just at home. It took a while because the pain is not really just in your ankle. It's almost like in your shin, your calf, and your knee. It's brutal. And the ice and elevate and the ibuprofen and the foot massages, that none of that works. None of it works. You know what I'm saying? It sounds gruesome and crazy, but it's just put like this to not go on. Just imagine twisting your ankle, but once it's twisted, you just keep doing it over and over and over and over again. That's basically what a high ankle sprain feels like. It's just like you keep twisting it over and over and over and over. But you just do it one time. And like, what's crazy is the pain is instant, but you don't really feel it until you slow down. Like, I didn't even feel it until I slowed down. And then when I slowed down, I tried to put pressure on it, and it was like, oh no.
Couldn't put nothing on it.
Real wrong. Like, I was so scared. And we were in pregame. So coach know this. Hey man, we in pregame. The game ain't even started yet. I twisted my ankle in pregame, taking a knee. One of my teammates fell on me because I was taking a knee to do something. I don't even remember what I was doing, but I know I took a knee to do something, and one of my teammates fell on my ankle, rolled it, and like my body stayed still. You know, like on stayed still. My ankle just kept going, and it was bad.
You heard that pop?
Listen, no. So I didn't. So that was a key to it.
Oh,
so I didn't hear any pop, didn't feel a pop, anything like that, because I always tied. So this is a tidbit for kids. I always tied my shoes tight. You know what I'm saying? I was never a double sock kind of guy, anything like that. Well, at McKinley, we couldn't. So I just tied my shoes tight, and we wore mids back then. And so I tied it tight, and that was the one thing that saved me, because if it would have been loose, my ankle would have blew up like a balloon, because that's what happened when you take it off. So that's like at the end of the fourth quarter, they had to cut my shoe off. I couldn't tie it, because if I'd have untied it, my ankle would have blew up. Because you talk about 50, 60 minutes, you know what I'm saying, after the fact. You know, first quarter, second quarter, halftime, all that jazz. And so, yeah, they had to cut my shoe off and cut it off, and I had to put it right in the ice bucket immediately. Just to put it down, anything like that. But like, so again, to stop rambling on, it just had to have that conversation with everybody at the table. Everybody understand what the situation is, and what the what the timeline is for the injury, and where you at in your career.
So the thing, God, them high ankle sprains is nothing serious. I mean, nothing to play with. That is something else. So Ash, as being an athlete, you're an athlete, right? I mean, we're an athlete. So did you ever, was it a time when you could admit, or one of your teammates can admit that they were hurting mentally without feeling weak? Because sometimes we don't want to talk up or speak up because it makes others looks weak. Not just in sports, that could be overall. But if we're hurting mentally, why are we so afraid to say so? And did you ever experience that in any of your teammates?
Yeah, like the leaders, the ones who were the leaders. Because when you are a captain of a team, you don't want no one to know all the bad. You just want them to see all the good. Like you're supposed to be the leading example. We're supposed to follow your example. So when it comes to time where you at your breaking point and you want to cry, you feel like you can't because everybody else is looking at you. And regardless if you're in that position or not, it's okay to cry because you're giving the sign for everyone else to say it's okay to feel how you feeling. And then that's where that sense of community is built around. I was the type of person where you could come and tell me like the secrets, you didn't have to worry about it coming back. So I knew the pressures that a lot of our captains was going through. So for them to just sit there and just be like, I'm okay, y'all, my kids in the background, sorry. But for them to be like, for them to sit there and say like, I'm okay. And I'm like, it's okay for you to tell the team that you're not okay. Because like we said earlier, when you think you're okay and you're doing certain things, some people can really see through the mask that you're trying to put on. And once you are able to establish that foundation with everyone, then everything will be okay. And I think it took us going through something as a team for us to sit down in the locker room and be like, put it all out there on the table. What's going on? And from there, we were able to really just respect our leaders a little bit more. And I feel like they were able to be a little bit vulnerable. Like you don't have to tell your whole story,
Right.
but just enough for people to be able to want to follow you.
That's good. And last workshop, we talked about leading and following. So, hey, it keeps getting greater and greater here and inside of the workshops. And tonight, it's like really blowing my mind because Eb, you was shaking your head. We was learning some new things here tonight that we didn't even know. Think about it. You talked about grief, Ash, when your father passed away, and being your body is there, but your mind isn't. You know that song, my wait, how I go? My mind is on the other side of town. Who sing that old school song? Y'all know, y'all feeling me? Oh, you don't know
Yeah,
it,
I know what you talk about. I know what you talk about.
yeah, but it's the truth. And then, like you said too, Eb, you was like, you think you smiling, but inside people say, "Oh no, she's not approachable." And I have this conversation with somebody that's real near and dear to my heart. I'd be like, your facial expression tells it all. You don't even have to open up your mouth to say a word. Hey, but hey, that's sometimes that happens. But we're talking here tonight about when the mind and body are injured and it's healing beyond the game, but not just the game, in everyday life. Y'all know we're dealing with some crazy things in this time, right? And we have some a couple of scriptures I'm gonna give to you, Wendell. I want to ask everybody because I'm sure everybody here is connected to God, right? What are some of the scriptures or even affirmations that you can anchor in an athlete or someone that's near and dear to you during both physical and emotional pain?
I know my son's favorite one is Philippians. You can do all things through Christ that strengthens me.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Mm. And when he had that hip flexor, I think that's what it's called. The hip flexor, when he had that injury, that's another painful injury because you have to move your hips again to move your
Yeah,
legs.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, and at the end of the day, I'm sure he probably had to put that on replay. Had to
Hmm.
put that on replay because when someone is doing something that they love and an injury, whether it's mind or body, occur, everything just goes out the window. So if you don't have something that can speak to your spirit, you're going to definitely fall short, and that mind is going to be even more injured. So Ryan, what would you say?
He took my scripture. I say that, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause I mean, like most athletes, you know what I'm saying, not to sound redundant, but most athletes, we hear the same things. You know what I mean? Some people think it's cliche, whatever, but like we all hear the same ones. But the words of encouragement that I've always heard is, um, you're not alone.
Mm,
And they're going to turn the lights out anyway. Just make sure they turn the lights out when you want them to. You know what I'm saying? That's what my mom told me long time ago. She, like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's the truth. And it was so funny because it was me and some of my teammates um, when we were in college, and a couple of guys got drafted or whatever. And she let them know firsthand, like, I'll be working for the NFL long after you will. And then she told them, so they're going to turn the lights out one day. Just make sure they turn them out when you want them to, which means don't go out with a crazy injury. Do the best you can and make the right decisions in life. Treat people the right way, so on and so forth. And I live with that. You know what I mean? Like it's not a forever sport, no matter what we play. It could be a forever recreational sport. But you know what I'm saying, doing it the way you want to do it at the high, you know what I'm saying, capacities and stuff like that. There's only so much your body can take.
Yep.
It's gonna shut down. And if it don't shut down, don't worry. Somebody gonna shut you down for you. So you know what I mean?
So that question goes to Ed. I mean, I'm sorry, to Ash. Ashley, what happens when sports is done with you? You're not done with sports.
A piece of grievance at first because you're just like this been my life the whole entire. Hold on, wait one second, y'all. Girl, that Made for Me song be having the kids in chokehold still. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is about that song. But when it comes to just Marley, please. When it comes to yeah, I'm sorry. Having the sports be done before you, you go through a sense of grievance because you're like, this is something that I did every day. I get up, I practice, I have games, and now all of a sudden this is changing. And for me at first, I was like, I want to be able to stay in it. Most people aren't able to go to the next level, whether that's overseas or if it's just professional domestically. So they try to get into coaching, right? So as long as you're still within that field, I think that's a way for you to kind of just be able to kind of get over that hump once the game is done with you, but you're not done with it.
And that's the thing. And when you say done with it, the game is not done with you. It don't have to be an injury. In your case, you brought a beautiful soul in this world, right? And you talked about the girls playing basketball while pregnant, which I give hands up to them. I'm telling you, because being pregnant in itself is a job to actually have to go out there and work out. Because I'm sure what was required of just people that wasn't pregnant was the same requirements of the ones that were. Whoa.
Definitely, we expected to still make times, and the way my coach was, baby, we was running like we was on the track team. You couldn't tell the difference between the track team and the basketball team. Okay, we were very in shape because we played full press defense the entire game.
Yes, sir.
So we had to be in shape. So when you not making your time, when y'all, I'm telling y'all, we used to be hurt up in there. I'm having flashbacks already, but again, ladies doing this pregnant. I mean, we're making our times during preseason and it just performing at high levels.
Yes.
And just being able to make that happen is remarkable.
Man, and as you hear her say that, what if you had one of these young ladies come sit down in your office now that the sport is done, or not just these young ladies? What if you have someone come sit in your office that they wasn't ready to quit, or stop, but the sport was just an injury occur or something like what Ashley just spoke about happened.
Well, the great thing is that I'm able to do my faith-based Christian counseling. So I'm able to come in different aspects instead of just, your typical, well, let's just talk about it and let's just think about it. But I am able to do things like, have them to come up with affirming statements through scripture at times. And I probably would kind of recommend them to use the trust in the Lord with all your heart and all your mind and lean not into your own understanding in all your ways, acknowledge him and he direct your path, and let that be their statement, their affirmation, because in that moment, that's all you can do. You got to trust. You got to trust that whatever is happening for your good, and not necessarily question what is occurring in the moment when I'm challenged with, I have this, I'm pregnant and my body's telling me I gotta stop, but I don't want to stop, and it's like, okay, well, you gotta trust that this next step is the step for you. Don't, and so that you don't make these decisions that will cause you to maybe later on hurt yourself or harm, your baby. And I'm sure Ashley can attest to the fact that, at some point, every female athlete who has done a sport and pregnant at the same time had to stop at some point. They had to know when it was time to, rest because, I need to rest my body. And they were concerned about it. I can't remember. I don't know. I know her name is her last name Felix or Alexis, the track runner who,
Yeah.
is it Felix? Is it
Yeah.
Felix? She
Yes.
was, yeah, she did both seasons, both of her seasons, pregnant, both of her different kids, and lost a lot. Lost her contracts with Nike, lost a couple of things because they did not want, a mother to represent the brand to the point where she came out with her own brand,
Yeah. And she came back
and so
stronger.
and she came back very strong, and her
Mhm.
brand makes a lot of money, and and she is a spokesperson for women in sports who are mothers, right? And so that's why you have to trust that it is the right thing, and don't lean into your own understanding because it's not going to make sense. So that would be what our conversation would look like. Whatever's happening right now isn't going to make sense, but just trust that at the end of this it will be right for you. Don't
Yeah,
try to sit up here and understand it. Just trust that it will work out.
absolutely. And being though all of you are in all of your professions, me as a mother of a former athlete, I want to do a little role playing here, and then we're going to close out. So, being though, we'll start with you, Mr. First of all, by you being a sports champion. As a mother, how would you encourage me to encourage my son if an injury, if he came to you, like Mr. Ryan talked about, if he came to you and you're his safe space and he tell you that he's afraid to get back out there, or he, I'm really hurting, coach. How would you approach me as a parent?
As a parent,
Mhm.
well, so you're the kid and I'm the parent.
I'm the mother of the kid.
You're the mother of the kid
Yeah, and you're the coach.
and I'm the coach. Well,
Yeah.
it's just like y'all said, had that conversation with the parent. Like, listen, there's other things that your child can do. Your child said, oh, they're afraid of whatever. Well, they already spoke to you as a parent and say, hey, this is what I want to do. Um, having that conversation, hey, listen, there are other things that you can do. Your kid. So let me ask you this question. Hold up.
Okay.
So did the kid tell the coach, or did the kid tell the mother, and then the mother came and told the coach?
No, the kid told the coach.
Oh, the
The
kid
mother
told the
don't know
coach.
nothing. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm coming to you. All right, hey mom, listen. Your kid came to me, telling me about an injury. I know however you are with the sport, it's very important that you go get them looked at to see how severe whatever the injury is, and just let them know there are other things that you can do in the meantime.
Well, coach, how long have you been knowing this?
Well, the
Mm.
kid just came in and talked to me the other day, and I was contemplating on when I was going to tell you because I didn't want to come at you the wrong way. I just wanted to make sure I was right within myself so I could
But
be able
coach,
to
no,
give
no,
you
no,
that
no, no,
lesson.
no, no, no. I felt as though as soon as you knew, you should have told me.
Well, like I said, I had to make sure I was right because if I come to you in the improper way, then it'll go far beyond what is going now. So,
Okay, so
mom,
do you have my son's best interest at heart? Because you didn't come tell me right away. What happens if something would have happened to my child during those couple of days that you waited?
ma'am, get off my god doggone fit now. Hey,
Well, that's
listen.
how it's done.
Hey, that's how it's done.
But the
Hey, that's how
crazy
it's
part
done.
is
But no,
with something like that, it makes it hard for coaches to approach that
right.
because the child doesn't see the parent as a safe space. It's the coach who's a safe space. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe the parent just the acting that you did, great, by the way, great. But let's just say like the child is scared to come up and tell the parent, hey, I got this going on because the parent is pushing them like, you got to get this, you got to be able to get the scholarship. If you don't play that X, Y, and Z, and it puts more pressure on the child. It puts a
Hmm.
lot more pressure on the child.
Yeah, I
I
definitely can
agree.
see that, especially what you just said. If that parent is telling that child, like you, especially our men, our men is told, they're told to suck it up. You're a man. You better not cry. You better not do this. So yeah, I can see from that standpoint. But you do have parents that's like that. So I kind of wanted to give you a little harder version of what it would be like with the mother that I once were. I was once that mother. If you knew something that was ailing my child, or I want to know, because at the end of the day, you do your
Do
job,
your
coach.
job, coach.
But if it's something that's ailing my child in that sense, what happens in between those days that he or she would have got out there and something bad would have happened, and it's like, oh, I
So
should have.
I feel like the way you handled it, if that was the case, if that coach had your child still playing, that would be justifiable. But if the coach just came to you and said, "Hey, your kid is injured and he's afraid of da 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 da. I haven't let him practice or whatever. I've been sitting him out because I want to make sure he's good, but I need to talk to you about something or whatever," then it would not have been a justifiable reaction because I don't have your kid out here doing nothing. So your what ifs don't make sense because it's no what if he don't practice. He ain't in the game. He got injured. We've been sitting him out, and I'm coming to you now so that you can go and figure out how you want to handle this situation at this point. So I think it would have, depending on the circumstance, if the coach was still playing the kid in that situation, then I think the mom would be justifiable to kind of, I wouldn't say be, as animated, I guess, or in that sense, but still kind of express the concern of like, I feel like you should have said something to me first. But if the kid's not playing or anything else, then I think it makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense for the kid, for the coach to figure out how he's going to say it to avoid conflict, but he still need to process it because what do I tell you? I need to be able to give you resources because you're going to ask, well, how do I do this? Well, what do I do? So I need the time to pull all that stuff together first. I think that would make sense in that situation.
And a lot
Yeah,
of times, what a coach would want to say is like, "Ma'am, why is your kid afraid to tell you that they injured and they coming to me? And I already don't did what I need to do. Why he don't have the safe space with you? I'm not gonna tell him that in my mind. I'm like, yeah, and hey, coach, come here and holler at me real quick. Hey, I need to deal with this parent. I gotta take a phone call."
But think about that too. It ain't what happens if the kid is not afraid to tell the parent. He or she chooses not to tell the parent because the parent is on the outside, but he's dealing with his coach at that particular time. Like, coach, I'm scared. I'm really hurting. Not scared. We're gonna use that, but I'm really hurting. I don't know if I could be able to go
But
now.
most times, as coaches, though, we're observing. We know if a kid is injured or not. So we're pretty much, well, most coaches, we're pretty much already set that child to the side because if they're really hurt, we'll see it. If they're not hurt, now we're looking at, are you scared? You don't want to compete today. So me knowing that child, I would already know that the child is hurt. And I probably would have been went to the parent and addressed it before it even got to that. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Coach Ryan?
Same thing. Like I would have contacted the parent once a young man came to me and said something like that. Like, hey, does your mom know? Does your dad know? Does your uncle know? Does somebody in the family know that you're injured or that you're feeling this way? You know what I'm saying? No, coach, you know what I'm saying? I haven't told anybody yet. Okay, well, when did this start? Today, yesterday, the day before, so on and so forth, whatever. Because when you come to the parent with that kind of information, just like then, like he said, I want to come to you correct. So I want to come to you with yeah, your son, he hit me up. You don't want to do that because now it's like you're not to my kid during practice. You're not present to my kid while they're in school, so on and so forth, whatever the assumption might be. So I'm going to ask him the same questions potentially that you are. Not only because do I want to know, but I'm a parent. So I'm going to want to know these things as a parent. Like, what I'm saying, hey, when did this start? Who have you told? If you told Joey and one of your teammates, you know what I'm saying? Okay, when did y'all have that kind of conversation? What's hurting for real? What's the background of the situation? Did it happen in the game? Did it happen in practice? Did it happen in school? So on and so forth, whatever. And then you can become that big brother, big sister in the situation of, hey man, listen, you only get one mom, one dad. Whatever's going on with you, might as well tell them. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna find out either way. Because I'm gonna tell them or you're gonna tell them. So we can go in here together,
Mm-hmm.
make this phone call, or you can go home after we finish practice, or you can go home right now. You let them know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But I need to know that you having a conversation with your parents about what's really, really going on with your life outside of, yeah, practice was cool today. And that's the number one thing that most coaches don't, and I'm gonna say it, most coaches don't force. I ain't gonna say reiterate. We don't force the narrative in regard to and have conversations with your parents outside of, yeah, today was cool. Or nah, we really didn't do that much. Like, come on, man. Like you got a broken finger, you coming home with a splint on, you just told your mom, I stubbed it. So you about to have surgery. You know what I'm saying? Like what you mean? Let them know everything. So I would do that. You know what I mean? I asked all the questions that I could to make, just like Coach said, get all the information and then contact the parent or I'll give him the ultimatum. Either you gonna contact him and tell him everything straight up, or we gonna tell him, and you gonna be sitting right there, and it's gonna be uncomfortable for you because I'm gonna tell them what you told me. And so if I get scolded, you get scolded too. This ain't my mama. And so I'm gonna put it all on his shoulders. So, you know what I mean? Because they gotta do that. Young people are not doing that nowadays anyway. So if we could be that vessel in a sense, or that bridge, I mean, go for it.
Now, what happens if the kid just comes say that I'm injured, but they're not talking about physically?
They injured mentally,
Yes.
ask them what's up, what's going on. Now, I've been in a position to where it was home life. Stuff has been going on at home. Now that right there, man, like that, like, and I was fresh in the coaching and everything like that. That's a tough one. And because if you handle it the wrong way, you not only do you lose the kid, but you lose everything. Because now it's like the parent think like you're trying to be the kids, but you know what I'm saying? The parent took the assumption that, hey, you trying to do more than just coach my son. Not understanding that, no, my man said he didn't want to say something. I'm just trying to be the help in this. So my first time having that, being in that position, and I listen, just like coach, it took me a day. It really did. It took me a day. I went home, talked to my mom, talked to some people that I know. I'm like, I got a situation with this young man. What do I do? And so it went back to what's the relationship? What's the relationship with the young man like? Are y'all really cool? Have you ever seen his parents come to the practice? You know, what are his parents like? Do he have any bruises? Does he eat? And so there's steps and there's different things that you got to actually notice to see how to handle the situation. Because if it's something way out of pocket crazy, then you know what I mean you head man in that one. You calling the AD, the head coach, the principal. Hey, it's out of your hands. But if it's something that you can handle, you know, within y'all position group, I'll say it is a situation of like, listen, man, let's go to lunch. You know what I'm saying? Hey, this weekend after the game, let's meet up for breakfast or something like that. And then that way you can actually let the parents understand, like, hey, you there to help out too. They might not like it, but you got to kind of like even the playing field since before you actually drop that bombshell on them. Like, hey, man, your son don't like the fact that, you know, you smoking weed, you know, every single day. Your son don't like the fact that you got, you know, crazy, you know what I mean, whatever the situation is. Because I listen, it can get messy, man. And there's a lot to being a coach that's certain, that I ain't gonna say certain. There's a lot to being a coach that a lot of people don't see or understand. A whole lot. Like seriously, you talking about you dealing with young men that are 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, and they feeling themselves, they smelling themselves, they feeling themselves, they smelling themselves. Oh yeah, they feeling themselves and they smelling themselves, and then they growing and maturing in a way that they don't understand. So you put all that in one big pot, turn the hot water on and everything like that, and you figure out what you're gonna add to it or take out of it. It's mind blowing. So as parents, that's one piece right there that we don't even realize. When we send our babies off, our babies is carrying all this baggage. They unloading on.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
then we have things like that, and in cases like that, that's why we have moms and we have our family mental health counselor to be able a therapist to be able to help these families, because a lot of these kids, like even with Ashley, when she said she was grieving, not just with the grieving situation, you have people, like you say, kids, some kids don't probably eat at home, or have the I love you. Some kids need to have that affection. They don't need to just be you giving them things. They need that time. They need it to be heard. They need to hear it. So what happens if you have this kid that comes and sit at your on your couch, Eb, with his mom or either his dad? No, let's go by Mr. First of all, friend, the one who say he ran over his dad on every play. Was that you said that? One of you
No,
said
that
that.
was the
That
guy
was
who
the
was
young
at
man
the
who
event.
spoke. Yeah.
Right,
Who
that's what I'm
spoke at the
saying. He
event.
said, what if you had him to come sit on your couch with his, they trying to get it together with his father? How would you even approach? I mean, I know you're a professional, but I just wanted you to give a tad bit on that. Like, how would you approach the situation, knowing that dad haven't been there? Now thank you, Holy Spirit. Hallelujah. We're not going to even talk about the 14, 15-year-old kid, because we know that a lot of the kids is being raised by a single mom. Dad ain't been there. Player make God, thank you. Player make it to the league. It don't have to be football, basketball, whatever it be, any sport. They make it. Here it is. Oh, that's my son now. This kid always wanted dad. So he's gonna be accepted. But you got mom on that other end, like, how dare you? I done been here all this time for you. How dare you? How do you approach that situation?
Well, that don't sound like a kid problem. That sounds like a mom problem. So I would not approach it where I would involve the player at all, because it's the mom that has the issue with the dad. But I would have that conversation with mom first. I know people hear family counseling and they think that that means that everyone is in attendance all the time, but that's not the case. So sometimes you do see people in their individual space so that you can better understand what's occurring in a safe space. And then that way, when you bring them together, I'm aware of what's happening already. Because sometimes people don't say everything in front of everyone, right? So I would definitely see mom and get to the root of her hurt, her
But you
pain.
don't see mom. You don't see mom. This is just dad and
So
son.
you're saying, so
So,
you're just saying mom is feeling this way, but she's not, because she would
okay,
have to be in
I-
attendance. So
right.
because
She's
you,
not
but
right.
she
She's
would,
not
so
in
what,
attendance, but she putting pressure on the
she
son. So
can't
now,
not be in attendance. That's what I'm saying. She can't not be in attendance. She would have, she would be asked to come. That's what I'm
right, but
trying to
she's
get you
not
to say.
there yet. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's just dad and son. Just dad and son.
So if
Now
it's
he's in
just
the
dad and
middle.
son, if it's just dad and son, then mom is not a factor. That's what I'm trying. I get what you're saying, that mom feels this way, but in this current conversation, mom has nothing to do with it. If son wants dad in his life and dad is coming into his life, then we're talking about the rebuilding of a relationship. I don't care nothing about the mama because the
No,
mom is not there.
the pressure on the baby. That's what I'm focusing on. The
No,
pressure.
I get what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. If he would bring that up and say that he's feeling pressure, and
Yeah,
then we would discuss, what the pressure looks like and why does he feel like he has to own that pressure. Once
right.
he's established that, the conversation would shift. That's what I'm trying. I guess I'm trying to point out that we would not spend our time talking about a person who is not a true factor.
Okay.
You understand? So
Mhm.
once we've discussed, how the words that his mother's saying is affecting him,
Yes.
and how he can, and if it really is affecting him, or if he just feels like, well, that's my mama and I want to hurt her feelings. Once we get past that, I don't want to hurt her feelings, it would look like the building of a relationship with the dad, because he honestly wants the relationship with
Mhm.
dad. And then I know we could say, well, what if he, what if he have to deal with his mom later? I guess that would, if the son says that that's a concern, then we would deal with that concern. But in
Mhm.
most cases, once they've been given the freedom or the
Mhm.
okay to actually do what they want to do, then they're no longer worried about disappointing the other person, if that makes sense. So once they feel the release that I'm not a bad person for wanting something with this
Mhm.
person, then they're no longer worried about if my mom is going to be mad at me once this starts. But
Mhm.
that's why you can't, I get the scenario, but it would be very difficult to handle that with just them two people. I wouldn't even let them come to a first session without all of them. So it wouldn't even look like that, because that is that's difficult to do when you're
Mhm.
talking about mom holding so much weight, because that's a lot of weight that mom was pushing and pressuring that individual. In that sense, it definitely plays with a person. But I
Mhm.
think, are we talking about, because you said we're not talking about a 14 or 15-year old,
No,
you're
we're
talking
talking.
about a grown man.
Mhm.
And I don't mean to say it in this way, but as a grown man, I don't think I care. I don't have as much care about how my mom is affected about my relationship with my dad as I would as a teenager.
Mhm.
So if we were talking about a teenager, that conversation would look different, because I am concerned about if I'm disappointing my mom, if I'm hurting her feelings, and I don't want to do that. And how do I work through that? And I really want to be with my dad, or I really want to build my relationship with my dad, but I don't want to disappoint my mom. So those would be conversations. But as we talking about 21, 22, 23 at this point, they're feeling like I'm an adult, and in
Mhm.
their brain they've processed whatever that relationship looked like, whatever they understand it to be, and
Yeah.
they walking around saying that's my mama and daddy issue, and I'm just trying to figure out why she want to bother me with this when I'm trying to, it looks different.
Yeah,
So
it does. But what I'm saying is, mom is always a factor. I definitely want to put that out there. So she's always a factor. But what I'm saying is, it's not that mom is in his. It's like I'm trying to build this relationship with this with my dad, right? I'm not just getting pressure. And maybe I'm not just getting pressure. A mom just saying, how dare you want to even have something to do with him, knowing that he have not been there. And we know in our community, and if truth be told, we always say what? You have mama, sister, brother, uncles, cousins coming out to Woolworth when these players make it, right? So what is it? Is it mom trying to protect her child to try to say, well, what are you here for now? Or that child saying, okay, well, mom, what say for instance, mom didn't even say nothing, but he's feeling like he's letting mom down by
but where
now
would that feeling come from? That's not a feeling that just happens. Where would that feeling come from? That's got to come from something.
Okay, prime example. What happens when someone tells you they're afraid of letting someone down? Where did that feeling come from?
It comes from something that has been said, maybe not directly to them, but you
Uh,
don't just find yourself having a fear of letting someone down unless someone has, and they said how important what you do is to them, right? Like if they say, oh, you know what, Erica, you are so great at these podcasts, you just do an amazing job, and everything you do is a blessing, da 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 da, right? Now
right.
they're giving you kudos and they're
Mm,
celebrating you, but from that moment on, now guess what, you don't want to let people down, because you have now been acknowledged to be doing great at what you're doing. It is
mm,
something that has been said in a way that people are not intentionally applying pressure. They're
mhm.
congratulating, but they are applying it. So, so it does come from somewhere. It's not just this thought that I don't want to let people down.
Mhm. Okay, so in the sense of the mother and the father, or with the child, right? Or the children,
Hmm.
the children. What happens if it's multiple children, but only one player make it? And dad only wants to be in that particular child's life. And you
It's
got
convers it's conversation. I think at the end of the day, if mom, it's how the mom approaches it. So
no, not
if
mom,
mom,
it's dad. It's dad and child. If it's
dad
that
wants to be in the child's life,
only the child that made
the
it.
one that made it,
Hmm.
and why are they coming to me? Who, somebody got a concern with that?
Yeah, because the other siblings may be applying pressure, like why dad don't want to be involved in my life. Why just yours? So what if the kid is feeling guilt or something like, The kid could see that too. Like, why you're putting so much into me versus to my siblings? I have other siblings as well. Why not equally share that?
So we're gonna say this individual is feeling guilty because they know that dad is more in their life and it's
It's,
bothering their siblings.
yeah, but I want it. I really want this relationship with my dad. Like the guy spoke, he wanted a relationship.
He
So I really want this relationship with my dad.
he's allowed to have that relationship regardless of what those individuals feel. He can consider them, but he is allowed that. And so in therapy, we would talk about that guilt and how to handle that guilt. And you know what I'm saying? To have those conversations with your siblings, to have that conversation with dad that, hey, this is what I'm noticing. I noticed that you're trying to be with me, but Johnny and Sue are here too, and they really want to be with you too. And we will talk about those experiences. Why? Because when he comes back to me to say, well, my daddy told me, don't worry about that, he'll figure that out. Then we're processing. So what does that tell you? What does that look like to you? Does that look like dad is wanting a relationship with you? Or does that look like dad is wanting a relationship with your fame? Like we'll have those discussions so that he then can come to his own decision on what it is. Because I can say to him, sound like your daddy just want to be your daddy because you got money. I could say that, and I could lead him to that conclusion, but that would be not fair of me, first of all, and be unprofessional of me to lead him there. I can have him a conversation and let him see for himself and come to his own conclusion, and then process that. But it just looks like teaching him how to speak, teaching him how to have those conversations, advocate for himself in the sense of, look, dad, you know what I'm saying? I really want this relationship with you, but it bothers me that you don't want to be around the rest of them because we're all your kids. What is that about? Because I feel like you only want to be around me because I'm good with football. Like giving him the words
Yeah.
to be able to communicate those things. That's what that would
Would
look like.
would you bring the siblings in? Would you recommend bringing the siblings in as well?
With the dad too.
Yeah, with all everybody, the siblings and the athlete.
Yeah, I think I would start off with bringing the siblings in with their brother or sister by themselves
Mm,
first, right? To have that conversation amongst each other, and then bring dad in. But before I bring dad in, I would even sit with dad by himself to get a better understanding of dad's mindset, right? And where he is, and understand how he views his children, so I can see the hierarchy, right?
mhm.
Because it's important for me to get the bigger picture from dad. So because dad can come in with everybody else and talk fluff, right?
Right.
So if he's by himself and he's talking, the thing about people telling the story is they don't realize how much they give away when they're telling the story. So
Mhm.
one of the secrets to doing counseling with men, and I hate to put it out there because now y'all gonna know, right? Like, look,
Nah, I
is
already know.
men are very calculated. Like they think very, they're thinkers. I tell my women this all the time. I love the way men move. Like they handle situations the right way, but they are thinkers as well. And so they think before they speak. Women don't do that. We just we say everything. But men think. So when you ask them questions that are open-ended, they still have these closed ways of answering it, but still giving you just enough, right? But if you ask a question in a way that involves telling a story, you will get more information from them than you will if you asked questions. So allowing them to tell a story will tell you everything that you need to know about what they're feeling, what they think of you, just because they're telling the story. And so I would let dad come and just tell a story, talk, just talk, because one thing they're gonna do is talk. Let them talk, let them tell their story, and from that, then I would be able to bring him in with everyone else and work through it in that sense.
And then what happens if you find out if dad was broken as a little boy too?
then he
it's
has to do his individual work. At that point, it looks like individual stuff because you're broken, and I wouldn't tell him he's broken in front of his kids, right? So I would sit him, hey, you know what, I appreciate you coming in with everyone else. um what we do with family counseling is we see each person individually. So I would love to see you by yourself. So I wouldn't tell him like, I see you got something going on, we need to meet. Because if they don't get consent, we can't see them. But I would definitely say, hey, part of the protocol of family counseling looks like seeing each person individually. So I would love to see you individually. Let's get us something scheduled. And then when we meet individually, I say, I heard you mention your dad. I heard you mention how you were raised or whatever, and how's that affecting you? And then we would do work like that.
because that's something that happens a whole lot.
Of
So
course.
I'm going to transfer over to you because I know at the University of Miami, a young man his mother passed away during the time they were going to, I think, the playoffs or something. And he chose to go to the game instead of his mom's funeral. And a lot of people couldn't understand that. So can you kind of come as an athlete, knowing that your situation where you made it in time to spend with your father before he was called home to glory? But this young man, like, I didn't even understand it. But it's not for me to understand. But he said he knew that his mom wanted him to play the game versus to going to say his final goodbyes, which I'm sure he had a chance to say his final goodbyes, just not in front of at the funeral per se. So how would you speak to a teammate that may face something like that?
Yeah, I think it's just really about how you grieve. So I had a coach where his mother passed away um, the day of a game, and he went to and he coached the game. And when people asked him why he did that, he said, "Because my mother is no longer here. I don't want to be around a whole bunch of people where I'm feeling sad when I still have obligations to do." And I think, one thing that we don't really talk about as much when it comes to grieving is life does still has to go on, right? We can't necessarily pause everything that we can't pause our life because another life had stopped. So essentially it's really how you're able to grieve. For me, I think it was really important for me to go see my father because at that time we were just rekindling a relationship, right? So being able to see him, being happy when he did get out of surgery, it was a great feeling. And sometimes you have it on the other end where when you do pass, they don't want to see them in that light. They just want to remember the smile that person had, not necessarily, seeing them in the coffin. Because when you see someone in a coffin, reality hits, especially when you see the casket go down into the ground, you know? And the only thing at that point that I can really say, if it's a teammate or a coach, you really have to just, it's okay to feel how you're feeling. It's okay to be able to just cry because most people don't want to cry, right? Because it makes us look weak. It's okay to be able to cry. Get out of the camera. It's okay to be able to cry. And it's also okay to take time to process your feelings. And when you're able to really kind of process those feelings, then you're able to take that next step in grieving.
Mm, wow, that is whew, that's a heavy pill to swallow. To know that the day of a game that his mom passed away, but and just like he said, he wanted to do what he thought that she would want him to do is play the game. And like you say, sometimes we don't want to. Our last memory, we don't want to be in a casket, of someone. And it's very, very hard. And I get how some people can't handle funerals, won't go to funerals because of that mere reason right there. But when we have athletes and or just everyday people being injured, not just physically but mentally, we definitely have to find balance. And that's why I'm telling you, I love role playing because I got two of our board members, our champions on here, role playing with them to let y'all see how good, not only that they are, but that they know what they're talking about. So I love to have this type of open dialogue before the people, because as you can see, coach know his stuff, and as you can see, his wife knows her stuff as well. So if you're looking for a mental health family counselor, you got one here. If you're looking for some caring coaches and mentors, you have Coach first of all, and you have Coach Ryan. If you're looking for an athlete and a money champion that know their stuff, you have Ashley right here. We love coming before you all in these workshops on Mondays and Thursdays at 7:30, and we do not take this lightly, putting this type of information out there, not telling you what you should do, but sharing our insights on it. And as it say here, this is only for professional and educational purposes only, but we want you to know that we know some stuff here in Mom's Locker Room. So y'all got all the plays on tonight. Y'all got all the plays on tonight. So you better tell a friend, to tell a mother, to tell another mother, to tell all the mothers, sons, and athletes, daughters too, to come on, and dads, hold on, because he gonna get me, and dads, come on inside this huddle, inside Mom's Locker Room of Legacy. This topic on tonight, when the mind and body are injured, healing beyond the game. This is everyday life, y'all, because we know that we all are injured in our minds, spiritually, mentally, some way, form, yet another. But who do you have that can help you get that healing that you need? We don't want to put band-aids on anything, people of God. We want to get healed from it so we don't end up bleeding on people that did not cut us, right? So tonight, every injury tells us a story, but it doesn't have to be the final chapter, y'all. True champions are not defined by the scars that they carry, but by the courage and the heal, rise, and use their pain as power. And that's one thing that we can do, boy. You turn that pain into some purpose, because those it's had to happen. So remember, wholeness comes from when we allow God, not us, God, our support system, and our own resilience to work together as a whole. So, people of God, get with some people that can help you heal and not help you hurt any further, and not sugarcoat anything for you, but to get you to the next level where you need to be. Because if you're a healed person can help some people. And I thank you all on tonight for coming inside the locker room. And I'm going to give each person a chance to just leave the audience with a word of encouragement, starting with you, Mr. First of all.
All right, everybody. Like I always say, since we're talking about the healing of the injuries in the mind, pay attention to what goes on in your daily life. Eliminate things that are negative or that's not conducive to what you're trying to do to progress in whatever it is, whether it's in life or in sports.
All right, guys. What I will tell you is to consider yourself first. Think about you and how you're feeling. If something feels off, tell someone about it. And for those of you who are connected to an individual, listen, pay attention, watch what's going on around you. She don't want me to talk, y'all. Watch what's going on around you and support them in that way.
Mr.
I'm done.
Ryan. Mr. Ryan. Uh-oh. Coach, can you hear me?
I got you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, okay. It's like everybody took all the good points and everything like that. I guess mine would be um, find you a solid circle. Find you a solid circle of people that'll support you when you up and when you down. You know what I'm saying? Being a student athlete, being an athlete in general, you're gonna have a lot more downs than ups. And you're gonna have to find some people that'll be able to be brutally honest with you during your time, and that will be able to help you out. Um, and so whether it's through counseling, whether it's your parents, whether it's some teammates or whatnot, cipher through the BS, if I can put it that way. Find you some real people to be in your corner, and always understand and realize that you're never alone. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
There's people out here that are going through the same thing you are or have gone through the same thing that you are, and they've made it through it, and they're there to help you out. They're there to hear you out. You know what I'm saying? And never be afraid to be vulnerable. That's the number one thing too, because being an athlete is hard, especially when it's over, and sometimes we don't know how to move forward past our daily life, our daily regimen that we've been used to for 20 something years in a sense. And so if you ever feel like you don't know what the next step is, hopefully you have somebody within your circle, within your family, that can help you get past whatever that pain or whatever that injury is, to keep moving forward and to live life, because life is worth living.
Amen. Amen. All right, come on, Ash. What's your words of encouragement?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My words of encouragement would be, when you wake up every day, when you go to bed, think to yourself, did I do everything that I wanted to do? And if the answer is no, figure out how the next day you can make sure that you hit those lists. And, live life to the fullest. We've talked about, like, once you realize what you're feeling, and you can take accountable, be accountable for those feelings, make the necessary changes to get yourself that good.
All right. Okay. As you can hear, I'm going to bring the coaches back. As you heard on tonight, I want to leave these questions with you all on tonight. What does it look like for you or your athlete mom or dad to truly heal, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually as well? Because let me tell you something, the mind is a terrible thing to waste. So we want you to drop your thoughts in the comments or send us an email and let us know what you're thinking. Info@mothersofmotivatedsons.org. Again, info@mothersofmotivatedsons.org. And tell us, how do you believe athletes can be supported in healing both mind and body? We'll love to hear from you all. We will love to hear from you all. So Ash, if you're ready to give your words of encouragement before we leave off.
Yes, I apologize. Live life to the fullest. Find your community. Find that community of people who can be able to surround you and help you get to where you want to get to, both mentally. And just love yourself. Love everyone, spread love. Be that person who can change the next person's life. Because like we said, you may have gone through something, Miss Erica, and I love talking to you because I'm able to just learn from you and my healing journey, and then also just my journey of exploring God and learning God. Find someone that who can pour into you. Find a great mentor. Your life can change with a good mentor, boy.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for giving me my roses while I'm still here. Thank you. I truly appreciate that. And I'm honored to even be in position to be able to pour back into others, because I'm telling you, like, when you get to a level where you can, and not that I'm there, I'm all the way there, I'm getting there. But the thing is, I know God is still using me to pour back into others, and I do not take it lightly at all. And we spoke about finding that circle of people that you can, one, to be your safe space, and then two, where you can grow. We all can grow and learn from one another. That is very, very important, because, say for instance, one may fall. We can't let our sister or our brother stay down. We have to be there to pick them up, whether it's speaking life into them, whatever it may be, straightening their crown, straightening their helmet, their jersey, whatever it may be. We just want to be like you said, plain and simple. I like to say it, the same grace that you want extended to you, extend to others. And that's just it. At the end of the day, we love y'all here inside Mom's Locker Room of Legacy. Listen, tell a mom to tell a mom to tell fathers. I ain't gonna even call y'all daddies. I'm gonna say tell them fathers to get on inside this locker room of legacy. We want y'all here inside this huddle to get the next play. We'll be back before you all to give you the next play this Thursday at 7:30. Y'all, I want to say shouts out to everyone who attended the game with us on yesterday. It was hotter than fish grease outside, but we made it, y'all. We made it, and we had a great turnout. Everyone says 10 out of 10. Do it again. We'll be uploading the pictures soon, but just know that community service help us help you. How about that? Here at M.O.M S, help us help you. We had a phenomenal time on yesterday. So shouts out to the Jacksonville Jaguars for not only inviting us out, but winning the thing for us on yesterday. So God bless each and every one of you. If you want us inside your schools, your programs, please do let us know. We're willing to come out and do some community service or speak to the moms or the athletes. We would love to do that for you, you, and you. Until next time, thank you, Mr. Ryan, for being our special guest on tonight. God bless each and every one of you. Till next time, bye-bye.